All right, let's get into it. I'm going to review a game today that's my first victory in a rated over the board game. This is my third tournament. First tournament, 3 losses. Second tournament, 2 losses and 1 draw. Third tournament, 2 wins. Part of my motivation for running this YouTube channel is to improve at the 30-minute time control, especially for like over the board games. So I'm happy to see that my work so far is paying off. This was a very exciting game. I think both players played well, and I have an exciting tactic in the mid game that turns sort of a slight positional edge into a substantial advantage. Let's dig into it. So I've got the black pieces, so we're facing on the black side of the board. I'm happy to see 1e4 at the outset. We get into the exchange variation of the caro-kann, c6, d4, d5, e takes, c takes, and then bishop to d3. So they know the theory. This is a great move. It prevents my light squared bishop from coming out to f5 where I really want to place it. So I've got to make other plans. We've got knight to f6, supporting a potential bishop move all the way out to g4. My opponent aids me in this endeavor by playing knight to f3, allowing me to play bishop to g4, both supported by the knight and pinning this knight to the queen. So a nice little tactical maneuver there. My plan from the early game, let's get into this in a second. More pieces come out. We've got pretty natural developing squares. I play e6 to open up my dark squared bishop. They castle. Bishop to d6. My plan right now, as is often the case in my caro-kann games, this isn't like a super advanced plan, but this is something that works for me at my rating. I want to play bishop to c7, queen to d6, and threaten checkmate on h2. And so part of that plan involves trading the light squared bishop for their knight, which defends this h2 square. So when the opportunity comes, our opponent plays h3, I go ahead and make that exchange. Bishop takes, queen takes, and I castle. Just get my king to safety before I do any crazy tactical maneuvers. Let's see. c4, we exchange. Knight to c6. My last piece comes out. Queen to e2. Nothing too crazy here. I get my rook out just to sort of develop it a little bit, threaten maybe this bishop. It's defended right now, but it's still looking at some ideas of attacking soon. Their knight comes out, they get their last piece developed, and then I play bishop to c7, starting to prepare my plan. Also threatening potentially knight takes on d4 uncontested because we have 2 attackers on this square. I don't know if my opponent sees this idea or sees my idea of like queen to d6 and then queen takes h2 or queen to h2 checkmate. But they play the good, I think fairly annoying for me move of knight out to b5, both hitting my dark squared bishop that I want to hang on to and hitting this square that I want my queen to go to. So in response, I can't play a6 right now because they'll simply take my dark squared bishop. So I move further back to b8, keeping my bishop on this diagonal where I want it to be for the time being. They play bishop to g5. For some reason, the engine doesn't like this. I'm threatening this exchange. I don't think it confers upon me any special advantage, but I'm able to play a6 to kick out their knight. Brief intermezzo, we make this exchange on f6, and then their knight moves back to c3. Let's scroll through my notes real quick. This pawn is now hanging. I snap it up. Their queen comes over to attack my knight. We are approaching the critical juncture where I do have a cool tactic, but I want to take a quick diversion here to explore a tactic that I missed here, which is rook takes c4. And this looks like a strange move because the bishop is protected by the queen. So we'll explore rook takes c4. And then queen takes c4. Like, what's going on here? The move that I have in response is queen to f4, which I think is very exciting. We're threatening checkmate as I had originally planned. For some reason, I had it in my head that my queen needed to land on d6 before I could try to deliver checkmate. This is just as effective. This is not the move that I played, but I think this is a neat tactic. Our opponent responds with g3. And then we have the very exciting move, knight to f3 check. forcing our opponent to respond to the check, and before we just pick up their queen for free. I land on a similar idea in the tactic that I've found that involves a very similar knight move, but I end up trading a little bit more material for the queen that we'll get into in just a second. But this is a very exciting tactic that I wanted to explore. What I play instead is e5, supporting our knight, potentially getting in the way of our dark squared bishop, helping to deliver checkmate on this h2 square. It's maybe not the best move, but a reasonable move under the circumstances. Black still has a slight advantage. Knight to e4, hitting our queen. Queen goes out to g6. They play bishop to d5. I think maybe adding another defender to their queen and then threatening this b7 pawn as well. So I think a decent move. I play rook to c2, supported by my bishop, and then like getting a piece up into their business, starting to threaten some checkmating ideas, hopefully. Hoping to double my rooks on the c file, maybe looking at some tactics there. Rook f to e1. I play rook to d8, hitting their bishop, which is hanging at this point. And then we have bishop to b3. Now, here's the tactic that wins me the game. So for starters, this is like a tense situation. I've got a couple pieces on their side of the board. If the d file clears out in a hurry, like if I had like knight to b5, for example, they have queen takes d8 checkmate. Huge back rank mating threat. My rook and their queen are x-raying each other through this knight on d4. Our queens are x-raying each other through this knight on e4. So it's a very tense, very exciting situation. I'm sure there are other tactics here, but the move that I found is knight to e2 check. This is supported by my rook on c2. It's very critically a move that comes with check. If it wasn't, they would have queen takes d8 checkmate. But in this case, no matter how they recapture their queen, they recapture their rook, they move their king out of harm's way. I'm going to win this queen somehow. So I'm able to trade queen takes c2, rook takes e2, rook takes e2. I'm able to trade my knight and my rook for their queen. Up material, very exciting tactic that I found that ends up winning me the game. So I'm not out of the woods yet, though. I just traded 2 pieces for 1 piece. I'm going to scroll through my notes a little bit more. My concern is like they've got more pieces than me. They're potentially more mobile than me. So I need to play carefully. I play h6 to mitigate the risk of back rank mating ideas. They have knight to c5, threatening like knight takes b7 maybe. I did see if their knight could somehow teleport to e7, that would be a very dangerous fork, hitting my king and my queen. This is sort of a fraught position for the queen to be in. That's not an option, though, fortunately. I play bishop to a7, hitting their knight. I guess knight to b7 is still a threat here, but they play bishop to c2, threatening our queen. Move my queen out of the way. Queen to b6, and it's looking better and better for black here. They pick up the free pawn, and then the critical move of the game, queen takes b2, forking their 2 rooks. No matter what happens here, this is just another tough position for white. We have rook to c1, loses the rook. Let's see. Rook to b1, hitting our queen, loses their light squared bishop. Rook to e1 looks very dangerous. We're threatening like rook to e8 check. It looks like a checkmating threat. If white had 2 moves in a row, this would be a force mate. So it'd be rook to e1, rook to e8 check, rook takes e8, and then rook comes down to e8 checkmate with their light squared bishop guarding this h7 escape square for my king. However, they do not have 2 moves in a row, so it would simply be rook to e1, queen takes on c2, and then this would just be a rook trade. King escapes to h7 now that our queen has captured the bishop on c2. So white here is going to lose more material. White is totally lost here and resigns. So a great game full of tactical excitement. I think my opponent played very well. I'm excited to have an over-the-board win under my belt, and I'm looking forward to many more exciting games, as or more exciting than this one. Thanks for listening.